What is up guys, we're going to be doing an Altergeist deck profile here. This is a completely different variant from the previous Altergeist deck profiles we've done. This one I gotta give credit to someone else. This is not my idea. Someone messaged me on Facebook and he asked me if this card would actually work in Altergeist. So I decided to actually playtest it and try the card out, and it's actually been working pretty well. Obviously I'm not going to mention the guy's name because for privacy reasons, but I gotta actually thank you for giving me this idea because it actually is working pretty well. But for you, I'm actually going to use this card in this particular deck and also give you an outline of what you can actually play as well in this particular variant. So without further ado, let's just get started. So obviously we're going to be starting off right away with 3 copies of Altergeist Marionetta. Nothing to explain there. And we're also going to be playing 3 copies of Meluseek because it's just as important. And of course we're playing 3 copies of Multi-Fake as well, and 2 copies of Silquitous, and of course 1 copy of Kunkuri. Now, unlike the previous build, we're playing a slightly different version. We're actually going to be playing 2 copies of Effect Veiler, and those are the only 2 hand traps aside from Kunkuri. But we're also going to be playing Kumongus, the Sticky String Kaiju, as well as Gamma Seals, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. Now, the reason why I wanted to play Kaijus is because we're playing Silquitous, and I actually wanted to put more of a focus on her and her bouncing effect, because basically you can get over big monsters, and that's the problem with Altergeist. Altergeist have such difficulty getting over big beat sticks, and when I have to deal with that, especially Thunder Dragons, they have so many big beat sticks. You want to get over them, so I play Kaijus to get over those big beat sticks, but we'll use Silquitous' effect to actually bounce back the Kaijus to our hand again, so we can make use of them once more. So this is a slightly different build here, but that's pretty much it for the monsters. A lot less hand traps, but a lot more devastating plays. Alright, so moving on to spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Pot of Duality. This is going to be slightly different. Decide to take out Pot of Desires and instead focus on this. This does actually restrict you in special summoning, but overall in this particular variant of the deck you're not going to special summon too much as well. You're most likely trying to get specific cards for this deck, and I'll tell you what card you're actually trying to look for when we actually get to it. But we're also playing 1 copy of Monster Reborn, and we're playing 1 copy of Raigeki, and that's pretty much it for the spells, so let's move on to the traps. So for traps, we're playing 2 copies of Altergeist Protocol here, and we are also playing 2 copies of Manifestation, just like before. Personal Spoofing, sticking to 2 as well, and of course we're playing the Floodgate. Again, I always state that I want to play more of them, so perhaps I'll get more. Solemn Judgment, of course, Solemn Warning, and to end the Solemn Brigade, we're playing 2 copies of Solemn Strike as well. And we are also playing 2 copies of Storming Mirror Force and Lost Winds as well, just like last time. However, with the new edition of the deck, we are going to be playing the new card Curse of Darkness. So Curse of Darkness is the idea from the guy. Gotta thank him for this. Each time a spell card is activated, immediately after it resolves, that player that activated it takes 1,000 damage. So basically we are minimizing the amount of spells we're playing, and Pot of Duality is essentially meant to search for this card. By playing Curse of Darkness, we can pretty much defeat our opponents right then and there, and I usually rely on getting multiple copies of these and activating them all at once, or having multiples of them actually activated it, and from there they stack up as well, the damage, so your opponent will be taking lots of damage if they're playing a spell heavy deck. And decks like Trickstars, decks like other Altergeist decks even utilize some spell cards as well. Like, even if they were to play a Secret Village, then they would be hurt by this as well. So it works against a lot of different decks, especially Sky Strikers. they pretty much will lose if they play against this. And essentially we're trying to, I guess, turbo the deck out as much as possible to get this card, but at the same time we can deal with other monsters as well by incorporating the Kaiju builds and everything like that as well. But that's it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. Alright, so moving on to the extra deck, we're going to be obviously playing the Prime Banshee again, and obviously we're going to play the 3 copies of Hextia. We'll stick to the remaining 2 Kidoga as well. Isolde because Winter Cherries is in my side deck. Playing Cerberus and Phoenix, Summon Sorceress, playing Sayuja, and we're also playing Boral Guard, but of course if you have Boral Load or Boral Sword then you can play them instead. And we're playing 2 Linkaribo and we're playing Ningirsu. As you can tell, the extra deck has made no changes whatsoever. It's more so the main deck that we're really focusing on here, and it just does so much differences here, despite the fact that our extra deck is pretty much the same thing. But in the meantime, hope you guys enjoyed this particular build for Altergeist. It's definitely a more interesting build that focuses on burning, and, you know, Trickstars aren't the only deck that can burn. You know, Altergeist can also do the same thing as well. But yeah, I hope you guys actually have fun trying this particular version out, and credits to the guy who actually you know, asked about this particular card. It definitely makes the deck a lot more fun. But in the meantime, hope you guys have a great day. See you next time.